Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're journeying into, well, a fascinating martial world. It's a place where ancient traditions and ruthless ambition really collide.
Absolutely. And those lines between who's a hero and who's a villain, they get blurry fast.
Yeah, incredibly fast. So imagine this grand narrative packed with extraordinary characters, intricate plots, and some really high-stakes drama.
hmm
Our mission today is basically to navigate this complex saga. We want to pull out the, surprising facts and maybe some profound insights that are hiding in plain sight, shaping destinies and twisting loyalties along the way.
We'll start way up high in the mountains
Yeah.
at this truly breathtaking temple.
Oh, the Hanging Temple.
That's the one. Then we'll sort of descend into the shadows, the machinations of these powerful martial arts alliances, and finally right into the heart of this really ruthless cult.
It's so much more than just fights, though, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a deep look at power, loyalty, and honestly, the human cost of ambition when it runs wild.
That's right. Our challenge really is to see how the choices of just a few people can send ripples across an entire world. So let's get into it.
We'll do it.
Okay, so the story opens with this just, wow, awe-inspiring scene. The Hanging Temple, Huangkong Temple, right? Perched incredibly precariously on a cliff face.
Yeah, you have to picture it. These multi-story pavilions just hanging there, dozens of feet in the air, all linked by this narrow little bridge. It looks like it defies gravity.
It really does. It's an amazing testament to, like, human ingenuity and sheer determination. There's this quote from Fang Jiang, the Shaolin master. He marvels, the person who built this pavilion truly had a brilliant idea.
Indeed, nothing is impossible for a determined person.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Exactly. And that admiration for human achievement, it also extends to another ancient marvel Feng Zheng mentions.
Right, the 500-mile mountain road.
Yeah. Carved out way back in the northern Wei dynasty by Emperor Daowu, using, what, tens of thousands of soldiers? Just imagine the scale of that. The audacity. It really underlines what humans can do, especially when directed by, well, immense power.
And that sheer scale, that power and determination needed for those ancient projects, it kind of sets the stage perfectly for the ambition we see in the martial world of the story.
That's a great point. Jiangsu Taoist actually connects those historical projects directly to the power struggles happening now. He points out that this desire for control, it's an ancient problem, a
Yeah.
hurdle for countless heroes throughout history.
Power is the hurdle.
Exactly. That drive for something monumental can easily twist into a desire for absolute control. And that brings us to Zhuo Lingshan.
Ah, yes, the ambitious leader of the Sangshan sect.
His grand design is, well, it's terrifyingly systematic.
Okay.
Step 1. Consolidate the 5 great sword sects, Songshan, Huashan, Hangshan, Taishan, and the other Hangshan, all under his command.
Just his command.
Just his. But like you said, that's only step 1. His ultimate goal is way bigger. Absorb other major sects, Kunlun, Imai.
Then go after the big ones.
All right, challenge Shaolin and Wudang. And the final goal, destroy the Sun Moon cult completely. Make himself the supreme leader.
Maybe even more than that. Like an emperor.
Changsu definitely muses about that. Then he might want to be emperor, and after becoming emperor, he'd want to live forever. It shows that kind of limitless ambition.
And his methods are just ruthless.
Utterly ruthless.
Mhm.
Truly underhanded tactics. I mean, impersonating Sun Moon cultists to abduct Hengshan disciples. Attacking Abba Sin's Dingjing and Dingji.
Didn't he try to burn 2 of them alive?
Yes. Dingxi and Dinji in Casting Sword Valley. That's actually how Ling Hu Chang gets drawn into these conflicts initially. His sense of justice just flares up against Zhuo Lingshan's despicable methods.
Yeah, you can see why. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When does ambition just become pure villainy?
It's a thin line sometimes.
Speaking of dangerous power, let's shift to maybe the most infamous item in this world. The Sunflower Manual. Guwa Barun.
Oh, yes. The legendary text.
It's called the Supreme Secret Manual, right? But there's a huge catch.
a terrifying catch. The first steps are described as nearly impossible and carry a massive risk of death or severe injury. It's not just a path to power, it's potentially a path to self-destruction.
And its history is just tragic, a chain of bad consequences.
It really is. Written by some unnamed palace eunuch, ends up at Pushin Shaolin Temple. And the wise Hongyi Zen master there, despite knowing so much about martial arts,
He never practiced it himself.
never touched it. He actually destroyed the original text eventually, called it not a blessing for the martial world. He saw the danger.
Wise man. But you know how it goes with forbidden knowledge. Bits and pieces got out.
Exactly. Two Huashan disciples, Yusu and Kaizefang, they secretly read parts of it, and that led directly to this catastrophic split in their sect.
The Tea sect and Sword sect division.
That's the one. Bitter internal conflict, lots of elders died, just from reading parts of a text. Imagine that.
Incredible. And the ripples just keep spreading outwards.
They do. Hongyi's disciple, Du Yuan Zen master, gets sent to warn Huashan, but he ends up learning parts of it from those two. Then he leaves the monastery, becomes Lin Yuantu.
Founder of the Fuwei escort agency.
Right, and his famous Bixi sword manual. That was based on his incomplete understanding of the Sunflower Manual. Still incredibly powerful, but flawed.
Wow. And the Sun Moon cult got involved too?
Oh, yes. Their 10 elders attacked Huashan specifically to get their hands on the manual. Devastating battle. Many experts from the 5 great sword sects died. Countless techniques lost.
Did the 10 elders survive?
No, they perished too, but a partial version of the manual did fall into the cult's hands.
Which eventually ended up with?
With Ren Waxing.
Yeah.
Who then, probably not realizing the full implications, passed it to Dongfang Gubai.
Setting the stage for Dongfang Gubai's terrifying transformation.
A transformation that changed everything about him. His power, his body, his mind. The whole history of that manual is just a lesson in how power, unchecked, leads to tragedy after tragedy.
Okay, so, from those obsessed with power, let's flip to someone who seems desperate to avoid it. Ling Huchang.
Our reluctant hero.
Totally. Described as straightforward, carefree, doesn't care much for rules. He seems like the last person you'd pick for a leader.
And he feels it too. Constantly saying he's unworthy to lead Hangshan, let alone the whole Wu Yu alliance. He just wants, simple life. Freedom.
But that's the fascinating part, right?
Yeah.
His very reluctance makes him the perfect candidate for Fang Zhang and Cheng Zhu.
Exactly. It's strategic on their part.
Yeah.
They argue for him because he's straightforward, because he doesn't crave power. They believe he wouldn't oppress anyone, wouldn't massacre the Sun Moon cult, wouldn't try to absorb Shaolin and Wudang.
He just wouldn't be interested in that kind of empire building.
Precisely. They even admit they have their own, selfish reasons, pragmatic reasons maybe.
To save the martial world from more bloodshed and protect their own sects from Zhuo Lengchan.
Right. They appeal to his sense of responsibility, too, for the Hengshan disciples left in his care by the Abbas.
But the real kicker is when they tell him Zhuo Lengchan plans to target him and Hengshan first if he doesn't step up.
That's the turning point. That's what finally breaks his resistance. He cries out, "I cannot." He realizes he's trapped, essentially.
Cornered into responsibility. Classic. And no sooner do they make this plan, boom, immediate threat.
Right there at Shuangkong Temple, Dongfang Bubai's people, Jiabu and Sheng Wanyan, ambush them. They've got these hidden, poisoned, water-shooting mechanisms.
And the water is nasty stuff.
Extremely potent, corrosive. It starts rotting wood instantly, causing fear even in masters like Fang Zhang and Changzhu. Serious danger.
This is where Yanging shines, though. Her cunning is amazing.
Oh, her entrance is fantastic, timely, dramatic. She immediately calls out Jiabu, accuses him of taking bribes from Zhuo Langshan for this attack.
Undermines him right away.
Completely. Then she whips out Ren Waxing's Blackwood token.
The symbol of ultimate authority in the cult.
Like a royal seal, basically. It commands instant, unquestioning loyalty from the cult members present. Jiabu's attack just falls apart.
Brilliant. And then the diversion.
Masterful. Fakes a fire below the pavilion. Jiabu's men panic and scatter, giving Ling Huchang and the others the chance to escape that deadly bridge. Quick thinking, strategic genius under pressure.
And the power dynamics keep shifting. Sheng Wanyan defects to their side.
Right. Yinging, using her status as the Holy Maiden and Ren Waxing's daughter, offers him the 3 corpses brain pill.
Oof. That mind control poison ensures loyalty, but wow.
It's intense. But Sheng Wanyan sees which way the wind is blowing within the cult, sees Ren Waxing is making a comeback, and pledges allegiance to Yinging and her father. A powerful alliance, definitely, but maybe a slightly unsettling one.
Okay, next stop. Blackwood Cliff, the heart of the Sun Moon cult's power. Heavily fortified place.
Very perilous journey for Ling Huchang, Yinging, Ren Waxing, and Shang Wentian. They have to use disguises, learn the cult's weird jargon and greetings.
So like, may the Lord's decrees be brilliant and timeless.
Which Ren Waxing finds completely idiotic and insincere, naturally.
Naturally. But this journey starts to reveal what's really going on with Dongfang Gubai.
Yeah, you see his tyranny clearly. He's become incredibly reclusive and completely devoted to his male lover, Yang Lianting.
Who doesn't seem qualified for the power he holds.
Not at all. Low martial skill, bad administrator. But he has immense power just because Dongfang Bubai favors him. It shows how corrupted Dongfang Gubai's rule has become, giving up leadership for this personal obsession.
And the cruelty. The story with Tong Baekshong.
That's brutal. Tong Baekshong is a loyal elder, an old friend, someone who shared life and death with Dongfang Gubai.
But he gets captured just on Yang Lianting's orders.
And Dongfang Gubai shows zero mercy, even threatens Tong Baekshong's family. It's like he's completely turned against reason, against loyalty itself.
So the confrontation in the sanctuary, how do they even get in?
Clever trick. They disguise Ling Huchong as being severely injured, carry him in on a stretcher, which also hides their weapons. Inside, it's all intimidation. Armed guards, 8 spears lunging simultaneously.
Yeah.
But the first surprise is they meet an imposter, Dongfang Gubai.
In an oster.
Yeah, just some guy named Bao, a puppet controlled by Yang Lianting. Shows how deep the deception runs, how detached the real Dongfang Gubai is.
And to find the real one, Ren Waxing resorts to torture.
He does. He brutally tortures Yang Lianting, breaks his legs, to force him to reveal Dongfang Gubai's location. It's a jarring moment. Shows Ren Waxing's own capacity for cruelty, even while seeking justice.
Which leads them to the boudoir.
The climax. And the scene is just shocking. Dongfang Gubai is in this luxurious boudoir, wearing feminine clothes, putting on makeup, doing embroidery. His voice is high-pitched and sharp, like a man imitating a female opera singer. He's completely obsessed with Yang Lianting, treating him with infinite tenderness, even ignoring the intruders at first. It's deeply unsettling, totally subverts expectations.
But his martial arts are still top tier, despite the appearance.
Oh, absolutely lethal. Honed by the Sunflower Manual. Unfathomably fast. He uses that embroidery needle as a weapon, moving like a blur of red.
In 4 top experts, Lin Huchong, Ren Waxing, Shang Wentian, Sheng Wanyun, they can barely touch him.
They struggle to land a single blow. It really demonstrates the terrifying power of that manual.
So how do they win? What's the turning point?
It's Ying Ying. She makes this incredibly courageous move. She attacks Yang Lianting.
To distract Dongfang Gubai.
Exactly. She knows he values Yang Lianting's safety above anything, even his own life. It's a huge gamble, but it works. Dongfang Gubai hesitates, breaks concentration for just a moment.
And that's enough.
That's the opening. Distracted, he's fatally wounded by Ling Huchong and Ren Waxing.
Wow. And in his dying moments, he reveals the cost of that power.
He does. Confirms that practicing the Sunflower Manual required self-castration. That's what changed his body, his voice, his whole temperament. He admits he killed his 7 concubines, became devoted only to Yang Lianting.
And he wishes he'd been born a girl.
Yeah, if only I had been born a girl, that would have been wonderful. It's a really poignant moment. He also insists he would have won one-on-one, that the distraction was his only downfall. And his last plea is for Ren Waxing to spare Yang Lianting.
Does Ren Waxing listen?
Not a chance. His vengeance takes over. He blinds himself in one eye, pulling out Dongfang Gubai's needle, then violently kills Yang Lianting and desecrates Dongfang Gubai's corpse.
Jeez.
Then he tears up the Sunflower Manual, calls it harmful, but almost immediately.
He demands the same flattery Dongfang Gubai did.
Exactly. The whole 1,000 autumns and 10,000 years chant. It's a chilling, instant mirroring of the tyranny he just overthrew.
And Ling Huchong sees this unfold.
It's a huge realization for him. He sees that the moment Ren Waxing regained his power, his true nature was revealed. He asks himself, sitting on this seat, what difference is there between Ren Waxing and Dongfang Gubai?
That power corrupts.
Power corrupts, absolutely. That's the moment he decides he cannot join the Sun Moon cult. It's a hard, essential lesson for him.
So after all that intensity, Ling Huchong heads back to Hangshan. He's got this Wu Yu Alliance meeting at Songshan coming up.
Right, and he has to deal with all those rowdy martial artists Ying Ying gathered. He smartly delegates them to separate quarters, trying to impose some order before the big meeting.
And then comic relief arrives.
Oh, yes. The Peach Valley 6 Immortals. They'd been comically tied up by Buji and Tian Boguan.
We're trying to stop them from messing things up at Songshan.
Exactly. When they're released, they're still arguing like mad, totally bizarre stuff, but they're about to play a surprisingly key role in disrupting the formal proceedings. Their chaos becomes almost strategic.
But amidst all this, Ling Huchong gets some bad personal news.
He does. He finds out his junior martial sister, Yu Lingshan, the one he loved, has married Lin Pingxi. It hits him hard, shows that vulnerability beneath the carefree surface. Even heroes get heartbroken.
Well, absolutely. So they get to Songshan, Zhuo Lingshan's big moment.
He's orchestrated everything. Grand Assembly, all designed to formalize his Wu Yu merger. And his contempt for Ling Huchang is obvious. Veiled insults.
Calling him handsome and young, leading a sect of nuns.
Exactly. Trying to undermine him right from the start, assert his own dominance.
And then there's that confrontation with the blind assassins.
Right. Turns out they're Songshan disciples whose eyes Ling Huchang accidentally blinded earlier.
Huh?
Talk about awkward and dangerous. But then Buji and Tian Boguang jump in again, adding more chaos to the mix.
Just when Zhuo Lingshan wants order, and then his plan gets another blow.
A big one. Feng Zheng and Chong Su show up, much to Zhuo Lingshan's dismay. Their arrival signals clear support for Ling Huchang, totally upsetting Zhuo's calculations. Ling Huchang has powerful, unexpected allies now.
Okay, so the debates finally start. How does that go?
It gets wild pretty quickly. First, Zheng Yi from Angshan bravely stands up to Zhu Lingshan, refutes his lie that the dead abbesses supported the merger, says they were against it.
Good for her. But then
Then the Peach Valley Six Immortals erupt. They completely derail Zhuo's carefully planned narrative.
in their own unique way.
Oh, completely. Twisting logic, attributing ridiculous statements to the dead abbesses like suggesting the Six Immortals should lead the Wuyu sect. They openly mock Zhu Lingshan. The whole solemn ceremony descends into a farce.
That's amazing. Using absurdity as a weapon.
It's incredibly effective against Zhuo's rigid control. But then comes a really unexpected twist. Ling Huchang's old master, Yubuquan.
From Huashan, what does he do?
He speaks, but his voice is different, sharper. More internal power, it seems. He gives this really heartfelt speech about ending factionalism, stopping the bloodshed.
And supports the merger.
Surprisingly, yes. He backs Zhuo Lingshan's plan, and then he extends an olive branch to Ling Huchang, talks about their father-son bond. Hence, Ling Huchang could return to Huashan.
Oh man, that puts Ling Huchang in a terrible spot. He'd promised to follow his master's lead.
Exactly. A really difficult position. And meanwhile, there's drama within the Taishan sect.
Right, their leader, Tianmen Taoist, is against the merger.
Vehemently against it, but he gets betrayed by his own martial uncles Yukizi, Yukingzi, Yuyinzi, who are secretly working with Zhu Lingshan.
No way. How?
They provoke him, trick him into giving up his leadership token, then accuse him of insubordination.
Oh.
Tianmen is furious. He ends up sacrificing his own life to take down one of Zhuo's hidden thugs, the Qinghai One-Eyed villain.
Wow. He proves his integrity, but Zhuo's scheme still works.
Precisely. A really tragic example of loyalty, betrayed, and Zhuo's ruthlessness.
So, despite all the chaos, the resistance, the betrayals, Zhuo Lingshan just pushes through.
He does. He declares the merger complete. The 5 great sword sects are now the Wuyu sect. The old names will no longer exist. And it's followed by this staged celebration, fireworks, flattery, feels completely hollow, built on force, not agreement.
And Ling Yuchang is just stuck.
Pretty much. He feels bound by his loyalty to Yu Buquan, who's now on board with the merger. Yu Buquan even complicates it further by promising to personally investigate the Hangshan abbesses' murders within 3 years, basically putting Ling Yuchang under another obligation.
Ling Yuchang must be so conflicted. He sees Zhuo's brilliance, but also the fear and coercion.
Deeply conflicted. He acknowledges Zhuo's tactics, but is really uncomfortable with how it all went down. There was no real consent.
And he's reflecting on power again, isn't he? Seeing how it corrupts.
Definitely. He saw it clearly in Dongfang Babai and Ren Waxing. Now he's seeing worrying signs in Zhuo Lingshan, and maybe even, disturbingly, in his own beloved master, Yu Buquan. It's a sobering pattern for him.
But he stays true to himself.
He reaffirms it to Yang Yang, his core identity as that carefree wanderer. He promises he won't change, which stands in stark contrast to everyone else grabbing for power.
So he leaves Songshan with a mission.
Yeah, he parts ways with Ying Ying for now, promising to come back after he sorts out the Thongshan mess and frees his friends who got imprisoned. It's a moment where he chooses his principles, his path, over the allure of power or just going along with things. His journey really forced him to face the dark side of leadership.
Wow, what a journey indeed. We've really seen how ambition, even when it's presented with these, grand visions, can just lead to incredible cruelty.
Yeah, and how power itself seems to inevitably twist things, even maybe the best intentions. Ling Yuchang's whole arc, constantly trying to avoid power, really throws that into sharp relief, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. From those amazing ancient structures like the Hanging Temple built with immense power.
Right, representing one kind of ambition.
To the absolutely brutal politics of the martial world alliances. This whole deep dive, it just shows that the simple desire for control, for power, can end up being more dangerous than any secret martial arts technique.
That's a really good point. And the way characters like Ren Waxing end up mirroring the exact tyranny they fought against,
Or how Yubu supposedly noble goals get achieved through some very questionable means.
it forces you, the listener, to really question the nature of leadership itself and morality. What lines are okay to cross?
So, what's the takeaway for us then? I mean, this story really pushes a big question, I think. In a world where power seems to corrupt so easily, how can genuine integrity actually survive? Is it even possible to wield great power without losing your way?
It's a timeless question, relevant way beyond martial arts novels.
Yeah.
It applies everywhere. Maybe you can think about examples from your own life, your own experiences, times when you've seen people tempted by power, large or small, and how it changed them. What principles do you think are crucial? What helps someone resist that pull, that temptation, and hold on to their integrity?
That is definitely something to chew on, a really thought-provoking way to end our deep dive. We hope you've gained not just some interesting story points, but maybe a fresh perspective on these big, enduring themes of human nature and power.
Hope so too.
Join us next time for another deep dive.